Hi, my name's Meredith Mustard. I'm back to do the next video introducing successful image transfer. And I'm going to start by showing you the materials. That's what this video will be about. I work with Gelli plate, and this is Gelli Arts. It's an 8 by 10 inch plate, and I use this size for the most part, although I use other sizes too, because I'm going to print with 8.5 by 11 paper, which is really common and available, and it's perfect for this size plate. I put my plate onto a piece of plate glass. This was a 12 inch by 12 inch sample piece that I got from a mirror and glass store, and I got a whole bunch of them. I put my plate on here because it's a little bit sticky and it tends to just cling to it. So when I'm pulling a print off, the plate stays put, and that's really very handy. The paper that I print onto pretty routinely is HP Hewlett-Packard Premium 24 paper. That's the weight. It has a brightness of 100, and it's smooth. It's heavy enough that it feels substantial when I'm making prints, and it takes a beating and it looks good. It takes a really good print too. So one of the first things you'll want to get are some gloves, some protective gloves. These are latex free, what they're made out of, vinyl probably. And the reason why I wear these is because paints tend to be toxic. They have stuff in them that you shouldn't have on your skin because your skin can absorb it, and it goes right into your blood. And it's cumulative, a lot of those things. I learned that in art school. Don't mess around with your paints. And let's see, so gloves. Next thing you're going to need is paint. I use Golden Fluid acrylics. I found them to be really effective in doing image transfers. And what you'll need is at least 2 colors that are high contrast. So in the lighter color, I use all kinds of colors. I have a ton of colors. It's a big investment. Golden colors are not cheap. You can try other fluid. I've tried craft paints and I didn't have success with them, the cheap craft paints. They have some really nice colors, but it didn't work out very well for me. So here's Titan Buff, Titan Green Pale. These have been really good colors for me. I use white sometimes, but sometimes titanium white will leave sort of a cloudiness on the plate that will get picked up into another color. Not so great. Now, high contrast, carbon black, really opaque, really a good color. And I've learned to, sometimes if I have a color that I want to use, but it's a little bit too transparent, doesn't have enough body, I might put a drop of this into it. It will darken a green or a burgundy or, you know, a red a little bit, but it also makes it more opaque and gives it more substance. Teal, really good color, really opaque. And turquoise phthalo is a fabulous color for doing these transfers. But experiment with anything, you know, depending on what you can afford to invest in. Next thing you'll need to apply the paint is brayers. And I think it's good to have at least 2 brayers. These are 4-inch ones, so you'll have a light and a dark one. It doesn't really matter. You can also use just one. These are Speedball. They're soft. I don't like the hard ones. I think the soft ones with this soft plate is just perfect. You get good coverage and good connection between the 2 of them. So when I'm printing, in order for the image, the paper image, to make good contact with the plate, I use a Baron, a printer's Baron. This is a Speedball. You can probably go into really high-end fancy ones, but this is a nice flat with a little tiny bit of give surface. So depending on how much pressure I need to give to a given image, and it varies depending on the image, I can have a lot of control with this. My hand tends not to be very flat. I've got a little condition in it where it curves up, so I can't really count on my hand to give me that contact. So I recommend a Baron. Now, after I've made a print, what I'll have is a piece of paper that might look like this. So there's some image under there that I transferred, and now it's covered with paint. And I was using pieces of paper to clean my brayer off in between using colors, and just roll it off onto a piece of paper. And I thought, I am wasting paper, good plain white paper. So these became my roll-off sheets. I roll off onto the back of them. So there was an image, and then I'm rolling off. And the patterns get to be really interesting because I throw these onto the table next to where I'm working, willy-nilly, so they're all at different angles. And when I roll off, it'll roll, and the papers will act as masks, and so I'll get all these really interesting colors and patterns. And I use these for collage and for art journals. Really, really fun. They're just gorgeous sometimes. Sometimes better than the prints. So those are the roll-off papers. Now, when I come to the end of the day, I clean my brayers, clean them, keep them really clean, so that they are laying down a really nice, smooth layer of paint when I'm making a transfer. In order to clean them, I use a hand sanitizer spray, which is high in alcohol, and an old kitchen scrubby. Scrub them off to the end and around the edges, and then rinse them. Doesn't take too long, and if you do it on a regular basis, you'll keep them clean. And I don't usually clean my jelly plate, but if there's something on it that I find really yuck, I will do the same thing, but I'll use a rag to wipe it off, the hand sanitizer and a rag. If it just has some stuff left over from the last print and I kind of like it, I will put down a layer of paint that will be a base layer for the next sheet of paper, and then pick it up, rub it really well, pick it up onto a piece of paper, and that will be a base level for layering images. So I usually have a collection of those going on too, and that's really handy. One other thing that I can recommend is handy to have. Sometimes when you're working with images and you're layering and putting multiple images, or using a bigger sheet, because sometimes I use bigger sheets. Red River papers make wonderful papers, and you can get larger sheets and do multiple plate printing. So I have some stencils that I've made myself that I will use just to put a little bit of pattern somewhere on it. It's sort of a visual relief, and that is sometimes helpful. So my name is Meredith Mustard. I'm with 2 Imagine Studios. There's 2 of us, Judy Tollefson and me. And you can find us on the web, 2imaginestudios.com, on Instagram, under 2 Imagine Studios. That's TWO Imagine Studios. On YouTube, you can try 2 Imagine Studios, or it's under my name, Meredith Mustard. And I will continue this series. We're going to do images from different sources, and I'll do one lesson that's about laser printer images, transferring them, because that way you can print your own artwork, your calligraphy, whatever, and not be using images from magazines or books, but your own very personal stuff. So that's the new frontier. And thank you. This is Meredith Mustard again, and I hope to see you soon.